Hey everyone, this is Johnny FD, and a lot of people have been asking me, how do I find US dropship suppliers, or if it's so easy to dropship from Alibaba or from China, and I can get such good deals, why would I go through the hassle of finding a US dropship supplier? And if I want to do it, how do I actually find them? How do I get approved? So in this lesson, I'm going to show you all of that and more, and I'm even going to give you examples of actual suppliers so you can see what they look like, and if you want, you can even use them. So first, why dropship from the US? There's going to be 5 big benefits, or 5 categories I want to go over. Your shipping benefits, more product choice, a bunch of other key advantages that will actually make you more money, and I'm going to give you some real examples as well as a list of actually 10 suppliers that actually dropship. So I know a lot of people just have no idea where to even start. So first off, what is the shipping benefits? What are the shipping benefits? If you ship from China, from Alibaba, and if you watch my previous videos, it's going to take about 4 to 5 weeks on average to receive products. There are some ways where you can get the products in about 3 weeks or maybe a little bit less, but in general, that's 15 to 21 days for someone to wait. When you ship something from the US, if you have a US supplier, they can get it in 3 to 5 days. And you have the option to overnight it or have second day air. Obviously, this is going to cost a lot more money. I know some of my products to second day air were $100, but some customers wanted to pay for it, and it's a good benefit to the customer. If they want to pay for it, they can, and sometimes you can even mark it up a little bit for your hassle of having to send something else so quickly. But either way, people can get it in a few days versus a few weeks or even a few months. What's also really cool is instead of sending it through some overseas post, or China post, or even e-packet, which is much better, you can send it through FedEx or UPS. And what's so much better about that is not only do they have a great brand and people trust them, they have great customer service, and there's so many different shipping options that let you send small packages quickly or even big freight items. And we can come over all this in the next slide. So another big benefit is people just like buying stuff that's made in the US, especially Americans. Especially in 2017, people just really like buying made in the U.S.A. products. Sometimes they're higher quality, especially if you're selling something like, let's say, furniture wise, or little things, maybe not clothes. Clothes usually aren't very well made in the US, but overall, at least it has a higher perceived value, so people are not only more likely to buy it, but they are prouder to buy these items, and they're willing to spend more money on them. You can also sell bigger, heavier items. So instead of selling small items, so let's say this like little wallet case or something for a microphone or microphone stand, you can start selling this actual outdoor table or these chairs or big bulky items that would be impossible to sell from China or have it shipped through AliExpress. Because the products are already in the US, you can sell things that are very heavy and you can ship it freight. The other really great thing about that is you can sell more expensive items, because in general, a small item you're only going to sell on average $20 to $50, especially if someone's going to wait 5 weeks to receive. They're going to get really pissed off if they spend $1,000 with you and they don't hear from you for 5 to 6 weeks and they don't get the product. But if they spend $1,000 on some garden furniture and you can get it to them in a few days or less than a week, they're happy to spend that money. So most of the products that I sold were actually over $1,000 for my dropshipping stores, and that's why if you ever looked at my graphs that I used to put up kind of live when I was doing my follow along journey, most of my items sold for $1,000, sometimes even $2,000, and I really liked it because I like dealing with less total sales but a higher monthly revenue and profit. The other really cool thing is a lot of my items that I got approved for were branded items. So instead of people just searching a generic item or finding something that they didn't know they wanted anyways, most things that you sell from China, nobody's ever heard of it, nobody really cares, you kind of have to convince them to buy it. If you can get approved by a product that maybe isn't like Apple or Nike or something really huge, but something that some people who know about that product automatically know, hey, this is a good brand, or my dad used this brand before, they might actually search that item term, and you might get that sale kind of based off that brand. So this is something that you can only really do with selling products that are actually manufactured, or at least the company is in the U.S. Even if they import it themselves, it's very hard to do from AliExpress because everything on there is generic. So what are some other big benefits? It's just overall happier customers. Happier customers are easy to deal with than unhappy customers. You don't have to spend a ton of time answering emails, saying, where's my package, where's my item? You don't have to deal with pissed off people. You don't have to deal with chargebacks or people threatening to call their credit card company. All these things kind of go away when customers are actually happy. And guess what? You get repeat customers. Actually, just before this, I got an email from my old dropshipping store that I sold now almost a year ago. And I don't know why they had my personal email address or why it went to me, but they said, hey, I bought a, this big item from you last year. I want to buy another one. Do you guys have any sales going on? And I was like, oh, this is kind of random. So I forwarded it to the new owner. So he just made another sale. And these items are like $500. So really what that shows is because we took care of them last time, they received their package in, a couple of days. They got a branded item that was really high quality. Not only are they happy enough to not to returned or been upset last year, but this year they want to buy another one, and most likely they're telling their friends about it as well. So not only are you getting repeat buyers, but you're also getting customer referrals, and this is the best long-term strategy for making more profit without spending more money on advertising. What's also great about selling in the U.S. or having to get approved by these suppliers or find them is it's a higher barrier to entry. So the problem with Alibaba, the reason why people like it is because anybody can get it, you don't have to get approved. You just go on AliExpress and you can just start ordering items. Anybody can be a dropshipper on there. And that is the appeal. People don't want to have to, find these suppliers. They don't have to call them or email them. They don't have to try to get approved. They don't want to deal with all this paperwork. But I guarantee you it's worth the effort. Everything in life that's really worth your time is worth a little bit more time because the payoffs are crazy. And my favorite thing about dropshipping this way and having U.S. suppliers is it's much easier to sell the store. If you create an Alibaba or AliExpress kind of type store, you might be able to sell it, but you probably won't be able to sell it for 27x monthly profits, which is what I sold both my stores for. So altogether, I've made over $100,000 not only running the stores, but I made another $100,000 selling the stores. And I think if I had made $100,000 through dropshipping from China through AliExpress, I don't think I would have gotten that extra $100,000 flipping the store. I think if anyone would have bought it at all, it would have been a lot, much lower multiple. So here we go. How do we actually find the U.S. suppliers? I know you guys are excited. You're like, okay, I understand there's a lot of benefits to finding a U.S. supplier and not dropshipping from China. Where do I find them? The 5 main categories are going to be dropshipping through another retail store, so through like HomeDepot.com or one of these online sites, or eBay, Amazon. A lot of people talk about using Dropship Directories, which are basically a list of people who dropship. You can go through a distributor or wholesaler, or you can do it directly from the manufacturer. So the first part of it is selling through either eBay or Amazon or through HomeDepot.com or BedBathBeyond.com or Walmart.com or any of these. The kind of pros and cons of it, all right? The benefit and the reason why people do it is because it's easy. Just like dropshipping from AliExpress, you don't have to get approved by Walmart.com to dropshipping through them. What you do is you basically just order it and check the box, send as a gift. That way they don't get a receipt with it. And that way you're technically dropshipping because you are not physically receiving the inventory up front. You are just having a third party send that item once someone has already bought it. So you get a lot of the benefits of dropshipping. It's easy, doesn't cost you any money up front. They deal with the shipping, they deal with the inventory, all that stuff. Another benefit is you can kind of scale up because you're not spending any time or money getting approved. You can basically sell anything in the world. The downside is now you're doing something called arbitrage, where you're not actually getting any kind of discount. You're not getting any kind of wholesale discount. you are trying to figure out a way to sell the item for more than people would have bought it from directly from the site. Why would they do that? I used to not believe that anybody would do this until I met a ton of students of David Vu's eBay course, and I met them in person, and I met like a lot while traveling in Chiang Mai. I met a bunch in LA, and I know it works. People are lazy. People, get used to buying things like off of eBay, and they stop price shopping, or you just use marketing kind of ways to make something, package something in a way where it seems like higher value than if they just bought it separately. So if you want to know more about this system, I wrote a review, johnnyfd.com/eBay. And if you want to just see his course, I have a redirect. It's dropshiplab.com/eBay. And the biggest benefit, I think, is very low cost entry. It's relatively easy to get set up. You still don't need to get approved by any of these suppliers. And I have met people who make, a couple $100 a month, and I've even met someone who's made close to $10,000 a month from this. Very, 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 very few people will make that much in sales. I think the 10,000 was in revenue as well, so his actual profit might have been something like $3-4 grand or something, which is still good money. But this isn't something long term. This isn't something that you can flip afterwards. It's really hard to sell your eBay account, even though some people have done it. So not as many upsides as what we're going to get into later about finding your own actual suppliers. But easy, good way to get started. Read the review, johnnyfd.com/eBay, or just search on eBay on my site and you can take a look. So the next part would be, do something called like a dropship directory. And we'll get into distributors in a second. What is a directory? It's basically a paid service that someone else has already found everyone who dropships for you, and you can pay to get access to this list. Then you can go through the individual companies to get them to dropship for you. Sometimes you still have to apply to become one of their dropshippers. Sometimes they're pretty easy and open about it, and they just kind of let anybody sell through. Some examples are like Printful or U.S.A. These are custom t-shirts or custom like nutrition bars. They don't really care who you are as long as you're buying it. So it's not like you're applying to become a authorized dealer or anything. But then some of the ones on the list are going to be actual, I guess, bigger name companies that actually are dealing more with like wholesale, and they want you to apply for it. So here is the pros and cons for it. People will use it because it's easy, because someone else has done the work for you. It's relatively cheap. It's usually a monthly fee to be part of these, maybe $25 a month or something like that. Sometimes it's a one-time fee, you download it, and people just want kind of like the ease of access. The downside to this is these are not going to be great suppliers. So one of the reasons why my dropshipping stores work so well is because I really thought outside of the box, and I found businesses that don't have a ton of competition, in niches that don't have a ton of competition. And I guarantee you, if your niche and your supplier is on a list being sold to countless other people, there's a ton of people going through it. So it's not going to be the best leads, because it's almost like, imagine if you're doing cold calling and you're trying to sell someone something over the phone, and they've been called by people every day for the last couple of months. They're just going to hang up on you. Versus if you find a small or medium-sized manufacturer and they're not on a list because they're not published on this list being sold, they're a lot more likely to talk to you. And once you get on as one of the dropshippers, there's a very good chance that you can kind of get to know them and become a little bit exclusive with them, so they don't take on new suppliers. So I don't recommend dropshipping directories. If you have to do this route, there's something called a dropship distributor, which is a little bit better, where you find one company that sells, let's say, just like electronics or just tools, and they are an authorized dealer, and they will distribute the items for you. Sometimes they even have a warehouse with these goods in there already. Sometimes you still have to pay a monthly fee, but you'll always get less of a discount than if you went directly to the manufacturer. But that's kind of a middle ground. I know this is kind of what they do in Store Coach, which is another online course. I wrote a review on them, so you can go to johnnyfd.com/storecoach, or you can check out their course, dropshiplab.com/storecoach. The only reason why I'm linking you to all the courses, and I've signed up as an affiliate for all the courses, so that way I'm not going to be biased. I don't have a reason to, because whether you sign up for this course or another one that I recommend, I will still get credit. So if you want, if you like it and you end up saying, hey, you know what, Store Coach is for me, please use my link, and I'll still get credit for referring you, and I can still make more of these cool videos. But personally, the reason why I do not recommend using them or these directories is because I have not met, I don't think, anybody in person who has had a profitable store going through this program or going through this method. And I've now met hundreds, if not thousands, of people who dropship using other methods, like Anton's course, that have been profitable. So I know that works. So this doesn't mean this method doesn't work. Maybe I just don't run into these people in Chiang Mai. Maybe I just haven't met these people while traveling or at dropship conferences, because I am kind of in like my own niche, and your friends of friends are going to be the kind of the same type of people who go do the same kind of type of business. So I'm not saying it doesn't work. I just haven't met anyone, so I can't recommend them. So now this is the really exciting part. This is how do you actually go manufacturer direct. What does this mean? If you ever bought something and it says ships manufacturer direct, or ships directly from the factory, or ships directly from whatever brand of item you're buying, that is dropshipping manufacturer direct. And the easiest example of this is if you buy let's say a MacBook, and you buy it from some online website, whether it's apple.com or bestbuy.com or some other site. Sometimes it doesn't ship from Best Buy's warehouse. It might ship from Apple's warehouse, and it'll come in an Apple box with Apple packaging, Apple labeling, and you get it, and you're not gonna be like, why doesn't this say Best Buy anywhere? I ordered it from Best Buy. It's because you don't care, because you bought an Apple laptop and you are happy it came from Apple. So this is basically manufacturer direct in a nutshell. This is the hardest way to get in. This is why most people do not go this route. This is why shipping from Alibaba is so popular, eBay Arbitrage is so popular, Amazon Arbitrage, using directories is so popular. Is because people are fucking lazy. And I wish I can say just don't be lazy, but I understand some people don't have a lot of business experience. Maybe this is like your first time, ever doing any kind of online business or any kind of business in general, and you don't have the confidence yet. Maybe you just want a stepping stone to get into some kind of online business, and you're like, I don't care if I don't make that much money for the first business. I'm using it as a learning experience. I want to start with a directory. That way I can kind of not have to go through the hard part of finding and getting approved by a big name manufacturer. So I understand. So those are, the reason why I had links to everything else is so if you want to go that route, you can. The reason why I recommend this route so much is because this is what I have personally done, and this has the most upsides and the kind of the least downsides. So first, what are the actual downsides? One is it's a lot harder to find both your niches and your manufacturers. It's not going to be a big list that you can kind of just go through. You're going to have to actually dig deep. It took me about 2 weeks of just writing down niches every day, walking around stores, going through my old email box, seeing everything I bought online, asking friends, interviewing, friends, say, what have you bought online? And literally spending 14 days, racking my brain, having a list of, I think I had 50 to 100 possible niches, and then going through and just crossing ones out that, might not work. But what ended up happening is I've been making close to $100,000 a year from dropshipping because of this. The other downside is you have to call the manufacturer and be like a real business person and say, hey, I would like to sell your product. I would like to be an authorized dealer of your product. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to get approved by Apple or Logitech, but you might get approved by this furniture manufacturer here, or whoever makes this microphone, or whoever makes XYZ. There are plenty of small, medium-sized manufacturers that are happy to have you be an authorized dealer if they don't have a big in-house sales team and they don't have a lot of distribution yet, and they just want you to sell the products. So I think it's the by far the best method. I signed up for a course called antonmethod.com. You can check that out. I also have a review of it. You can check out johnnyfd.com/DSL review. But I'm going to give you kind of a sneak peek on how he actually does it, because I know it sounds a bit confusing. But the reason why I recommend this more than anything else, or this method more than anything else, is because not only have I've done it now with multiple stores, I've partnered with a bunch of people who have made it work. I just did a dropship partnership with a bunch of people, and a bunch of them are messaging me now saying, hey, like the store's making 15 grand in sales a month now, what should we do? So I'm excited. I've met literally hundreds of people both while traveling, people who have messaged me randomly, or at these dropshipping retreats and conferences I go to every year, both in Thailand and in Hawaii. So I know this works kind of pretty much worldwide now, and I'm excited about it. So how do you actually find these suppliers, right? The first one thing you want to do is, if you are not in the US now, if you're traveling like I am, so right now I'm in Barcelona, I built all my stores while in Thailand, you need a VPN. It's a virtual private network. I have a link to one of the ones I use here if you download the slides later. But basically, any VPN that can connect you to the US and make it look like you're searching from the US will work. Why? Is because you don't want to get a Barcelona company or a Spanish company or Thai company as your research results when you're looking for US suppliers. You want US suppliers, so you want to make it look like you're searching from the US. If you're already in the US, easy. You also want to use Google's Chrome's incognito mode, because that's going to give you the most accurate kind of generic results versus just showing you things that you like seeing anyways. Turn off your ad blockers, because you actually want to see people's ads while doing market research. And my recommendation is to find your niche first. Don't search generic words like, I need a drop shipping company, or who drop ships, or dropship, whatever. Don't Google like Dropship Directory or wholesale or apply for wholesale, because you're just going to get a bunch of, unfortunately, a bunch of people try to sell you a directory or sell you something that just doesn't work. And I think this is why dropshipping has such a bad name. It's because when people search these generic words, they get a bunch of these kind of crappy companies trying to sell you some crappy service or product for $50 or $30 a month or whatever it is, and they don't usually give you any results. They give you these crappy directories that have been either overused, or they give you access to sell products that are, your wholesale price is more than someone else's retail price. So someone can just buy it for somewhere else for cheaper, and there's no reason for them to buy it through you. So look for the actual manufacturer. So I'm gonna give you an example right now. This is wall clocks, right? If you want to sell a wall clock, you might have to start with somewhat of a generic name, because you might not know the actual model numbers. So you can search something like wall clock distributor, or just find someone who sells wall clocks. But your goal of it is you want to find specific products that you think might be drop shipped. So for example, I found a Howard Miller Imporna clock, and that's the actual full name of this wall clock. And I know that the company that I found drop ships, because I kind of did some research, and it said ships directly from the manufacturer. You can also look at sites like Hey Needle or Wayfair that drop ship 95 or 100% of their items, and you're like, okay, these guys probably drop ship. But then what you want to do is you want to go the next step. Is you want to see if your wholesale price that you can potentially get as a dropshipper can actually beat or match. You don't actually need to beat. You just want to match the retail price that people are buying it online. And this is one of the reasons why you want to have your ads up, or ad blocker turned off, so you can see how much other people are selling it for. Now the problem is you're not always going to get a price list before you become a dealer. So steps 3 and 4 can kind of be backwards. The only reason why I put the compare first is if you can get access to the pricing beforehand, it's much easier, and you don't have to waste your time applying and getting approved as a dealer if you know the pricing will suck. Usually a distributor, you can get the pricing pretty quickly, and then some distributors are okay, and you might get an actual legit, wholesale price where you can make a profit. But if you can't make a profit, don't even bother with them. Either move on to a different niche or find a different supplier. And the last step is to say, okay, I would like to get approved by the supplier. You can contact Howard Miller and say, how can I become a dealer for you? So I'm gonna give you guys a bunch of examples of actual, companies that actual dropship. And the reason why I'm giving this to you is not because I want you to use any of these 10. I guarantee you, most of these are gonna be spread so much on the internet, especially by the time you watch this, that it's not going to be a good niche to go into. It's not going to be a good company that's going to give you the best margins or wholesale discounts. I just wanted to give you this list so you can actually see for yourself what it kind of looks like. You can see some price lists. You can see, some different niches. You can see, some examples. But these are going to be pretty low-level examples. All the suppliers I've used are going to be these, medium-sized companies that don't have a huge web presence, and that's why they were happy to get me to be their authorized dealer and sell their products. But that being said, I think this is going to be a great starting point for everyone. These are all clickable links directly to not only their site, but actually their page to apply to become a dealer or get their dropship wholesale pricing. So if you want to download this PDF, go to dropshiplab.com/U.S.A, and you can actually download this entire slide, and you can click on these and do your own research. And in this list, I have everything from security products, modern furniture, specialty lighting, auto, car accessories, pet and farm supplies, garden and outdoor living, hunting and shooting stuff, emergency survival gear, bicycles and apparel, and even artwork and canvas. So this is kind of a big range of possible things that you guys can sell, and start getting your brain kind of thinking. Because if you haven't thought of these as possible things you could dropship, you're probably not thinking long enough. You're probably not taking enough time to actually research properly. And if you still get stuck and you're like, okay, I know this is the best way to do it, but I have no idea how to even find someone who actually dropships. I'm gonna give you one of the biggest tips I learned from Anton. So I'm gonna give credit to AntonMethod.com because this is where I learned it. Is backward analyze. So instead of finding products kind of from top down, do it from the back. First find other stores that dropship. I'll give you two examples already. Wayfair and Hayneedle.com are both dropshipping stores, and everything on their sites are dropshipped. And obviously these are just two categories, two sites, and they both sell furniture, so there's so many different niches out there. But this is an easy exercise you can do. Find their site or find people who dropship and then stock one of their products. So click through and find an actual model number for one of the products, and from that you can find who actually manufactures it and who's the supplier. And from there, hey, this company approves other people as dropshippers, so maybe they'll approve you as well. And that's how you can get approved as a dealer. If you want to sign up for the course, it's AntonMethod.com, and that gives me credit for you signing up, but also credit for him teaching us these methods. Because what he kind of goes into is, aside from just finding the niche, he really shows you how to actually get the best chance of getting approved by suppliers, what to say to them, how to kind of build up your site before you even contact them, and all the kind of things behind it. My biggest advice to you would be to follow one method. Everything that I mentioned, it works. I mean, there's so many different ways to make money online. It's 2017 now. The e-commerce, or buying things online, is the fastest growing industry. Big retail stores are starting to shut down now, and this is the future. It's not going anywhere. People are not going to magically start buying everything in person again. Online business and online e-commerce is growing, and it's getting huge. There are going to be downsides to everything. So if you listen to people either online, offline, or people who haven't done it before, they're going to tell you 100 reasons why you shouldn't start an online business, why you shouldn't get into dropshipping, why you shouldn't start a business. And they might be right about a couple of things, but they are wrong on the big picture. And these people are, they're most likely they've either never done it themselves, or at least they've never done it successfully. So they might have dabbled on it and say they've kind of tried hard, but they've given up, so they don't want you to start either. I've now met literally hundreds. I mean, when I say hundreds, I mean close to 1,000 people that have made a profit online. A lot of people are making full-time profits where they're either taking care of their whole family, they are traveling full-time, or they replaced their 9-to-5 salaries. Met a bunch of people who are now making over 100 grand a year from just running their dropshipping stores. I know it works. I've done it personally for myself, for my other people who I partnered with. It's dropshipping works. You just have to find your method and follow that one method. Whether it's David's course or Anton's course, I know these things work. Personally, I'm a student of Anton, which is why I talk about him so much, but I know this works. You have to put in the effort. You have to follow directions. You have to do everything step by step. You cannot skip anything. You can't imagine, it's going to be an overnight success. It's going to take you up to 2 months to even get your first sale. But if you're willing to put in the work, it works. If you want to know how I did it, I have links to everything that I personally use to not only start my stores, but also run them, and all the software I use and everything. It's in my PDF, and I've even included coupons or discounts wherever I can find them. It's dropshiplab.com/discounts. And if you want to download these slides, it's dropshiplab.com/U.S.A. Feel free to share this. I know a lot of people will get a lot of value from this. If you want to know kind of more information, have interviews with other people who have done this successfully, listen to the Travel Like a Boss podcast. Not all the interviews are with dropshippers. Probably only 5% of them are with other dropshippers, because I like to interview people from all different walks of life and all different online business models. But I've also written a lot about it on my blog, johnnyft.com. So if you have any questions, leave a comment below, share this to your friends, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.